right. Sunday, new. God bless you all, whether you're seasoned or not. God bless you. All right. Very good. Hey, um, I'm hoping I can be heard. I turned the computer on and off before I did this. I'm like, I'm not. I think I got a new cycle to try and make it so I can be heard. Um, all right. I want to talk about religion today, and so if anybody has any thoughts on what's going on with them or whatever, please, you know, type out whatever's on the mind. I hope to bring the technology that's going on. We just with Tim Judge, who is through the stream and helping me out, having two people so we could get like people into the video live. I hope that we can bring that over here. So I'm going to try to work on that. Everything takes a long time, but I think that would be good. Um, People ask questions or whatever, you know. Um, Back and forth. Like, churches, religion just doesn't function properly because it's like, oh, I'm talking, blah, 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 blah. And nobody's like, hey, well, what is that? Here raise a question. Hey, uh, hey, what does that mean? Very good question. Sound is distorted. Is this better? Is the sound better? If I'm to hear you, but the audio sounds muffled, like there's some static. Okay. Is this closer? Does this help? Or is it like I got to restart? I just restarted this thing. Crazy. Um, is it any better? If it's not, if you can't understand me, I'll restart again. Um, you know, sorry, man, this is so hard to do. Is it? Okay. So thank you for the feedback. Oh, please. Um, all right. Let's. Okay, let's do a little. I had a suggestion uh, about the pilgrimage, so I'm gonna do that. Already organized the time based on the people that responded to me when this pilgrimage is going to be. Already gave the time, and I'll be contacting those people about the time. So if someone else wants to get on a pilgrimage, a Mirabella pilgrimage, I'm not going to India. Even though the website's not going to change or whatever, you can go fill out, go to America. There's a home in the East and a home in the West. So, home in the East is what's going to be going to this winter. So, if you want to go, meet me at the Bible Center. I'm not going to stay there. You're going to stay there. And, I'll spend some time. You can come and go for the property at certain times of day on certain days. So, I can do that. They don't want me staying there, but I can go on and on with the food with you and stuff like that. I'll just stay nearby. So if anyone wants to go to the Bible Center there, I need a passport or whatever, this winter, then you should fill out that application. Okay? All right. So let's keep going. Now, uh, this one's on religion. Okay? I'm gonna talk about religion. Now, kind of, if anybody has any thoughts or whatever, I'm gonna try and cover some ground here where you bring it up as I go. I'm gonna start and finish in the same place for a reason. And Nirvana said, and this is a quote, and this is from the introduction to God Speaks, the second edition. Okay? This is what it says there. I have not come to establish any cult, society, or organization. nor even to establish a new religion. The religion that I shall teach, that I shall give, teaches the knowledge of the one, capital O, by the way, behind the many. The book that I shall make people read is the book of the heart that holds the key to the mystery of life. I shall bring about a happy blending of the head and the heart. I shall revitalize all religions and cults and bring them together like beads on one string. So this is uh, there's actually this quote is on the beads on one string organization, beads on one string.org. Foundation, say foundation, in other words, they found the place. Fallen angels, they're the ones that find the place. And here they are. They find everything. And so that quote is big for them because they're always reliving lives, right? They're always coming back with knowledge and on the beads on one string website. And I met one or two of the founders of this out in Arizona. And they're 11. It's like a beads on the string. It looks like a bracelet, and there are 11 beads on it. There are 11 ages in this site. So anyway, so I'm starting with that quote, and we're going to go through what I'm going to do today is show you how all religions are basically saying the same exact thing. Uh, First of all, if you haven't seen the motto daily painting, that's this one right here, right here. This is that painting in my room here on the wall. Okay, and you can go look it up. RANOGAYLEY. I think Rano Gailey. That's her name, and she painted this quote. So anyway, God painted this. Obviously, it's impossible. So we did this. Uh, so this is a tower here. Okay, like the Tower of Babel, right? Baba's right sitting on top of it. There's black and white stuff floating around in the ether over here. And here's 11 ages, and this is a cycle. The whole thing is a cycle. You follow? And see how they're longer here, and they get shorter as you get closer to here. And so we're in the top one. This is the shortest, right? 64 years. And I was at the top. So this is like the reset. This is what they call the Kali Yuga, right? So that's the Bible calls it. That's we're going to go through what different religions talk about, but that's of an image of what we're up to. Okay, that's an image. Uh, let's go through some more details about this. Okay, let's there. I recommend reading. You can Google Bear Baba religion, and there's a page where all the quotes he has on religion are there. I recommend you read that and see what's up. This is kind of a longer quote on this the page, and I think it's worth the information. So let's go through it. He was on a ship called the Bremen, Brenen. Geez. Uh, this is what he wrote too. Yeah, he wrote them a note on the ship while he was sailing on. He's like, by the way, and this is what that note said: "You will not be saved by accepting any theological dogmas, or by regarding a prophet who lived hundreds or thousands of years ago as the only God incarnate, as the only genuine Savior, as the last real messenger of God. If you want to be saved, conquer your mind, lead a pure life, renounce low desires, and follow one who has realized God, and in whom you have sound faith." I mean, that's the beginning of this long quote. I mean, but there it is, right there. That's everything you need to know, right there. But let's keep going in this quote, okay? Most of the so-called religious ceremonies performed by the Parsis, the Hindus, and the followers of other creeds are unnecessary and worthless. For these useless ceremonies, it is the avaricious and worldly priests who are responsible. Prophets, sadhgurus, and saints are not bound by that. Worldly minded priests, though they may mutter prayers throughout the day and may perform this and that ceremony, can confer those spiritual benefits on anyone. Poisoned trees may be watered with nectar, but they will not produce edible fruits. The so-called religious leaders who repeatedly quarrel over rites and dogmas can only lead their followers into a deep pit of ignorance. Only the blind will follow the blind. What light can be thrown by him who is himself in the dark? What knowledge can, can he impart who has not experienced the truth? I'm sorry, I'll put a word there. Who has not experienced capital T truth? Who has not experienced truth? Okay, sorry. The priest whose principal motive is to serve himself and not others should be called a minister, not of God, but of his lower self. Disinterestedness and eagerness to serve others should be the characteristics of a genuine priest to whatever creed he may be belong. He should be like a river that does not drink its own water, but is useful to others, irrespective of their caste, creed, and color. Many of the so-called Christian missionaries are the followers of Judas, not Jesus. The object of a true Christian missionary should not be merely to baptize so-called pagans, but to render unselfish service to others regardless of their creed and color. To change our outward religion for another is like going from one cage to another. Either cross the boundary of Sharia, outward forms of religions, and enter Tariqat, the spiritual path, or remain within the cage of the creed of your birth. In order to realize God and to gain the original state from which everything emerged, we should follow the creed that accords with our own conscience and stick to that path which best suits our spiritual tendency, our mental attitude, our physical aptitude, and our external surroundings and circumstances. We were back to that first paragraph. As she was saying, if you want to get saved, talk your mind, lead a pure life, renounce low desires, and follow one who has realized God, and in whom you have salvation. That's it. Uh, okay, I'm going to keep going. So, what did Bear Mama say? He said he makes people. I shall make people read what the book I shall make people read is the book of the heart, right? So we're talking about blending head and heart. All right. So here we go. Okay. So what does it say in the Bible? John 8:31-32. So Jesus said to the Jews who had believed him, quote, "If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." That's it. So, so this is a blending of the head and the heart. So we already have hearts, right? We already have a heart. That's what's getting taken advantage of, isn't it? What we need is a head. You see, everyone, we're up against, right? Having trouble with. They all know everything I'm telling you about, but you don't. So that's why God sends in a, quote, savior, messenger, prophet, blah, blah, whatever word you want to use, it don't matter. What matters is I know the truth. I can share it. No one else can. They know it. They can't share it, right? That's a spiritual thing. Okay, so I'm sharing it. So what is being loving? What is being loving? What does that mean? Like Jesus said, love others, right? What is being loving? Well, doesn't everyone need freedom? Isn't that the only thing everyone craves is God? Freedom from this and God. That's what everyone craves. So what is being loving to people? This is what try to tell people. What is love mean? What does it mean? You tell the truth about the situation they're in that they have no idea about. That's what love is. Because why? You're going to get crucified for saying it. Are they getting crucified for saying this stuff? Come on. Just absolutely crucified. Just every single day, all day. So sharing the truth, about our situation is, uh, that's what's being loving. So another quote from Mayor Mama. I tell you all with my divine authority that you and I are not weak, but one. Okay? We're not them. You understand? He said it. That's a quote for a reason. Okay? What do they all go by? If you ever been hung out with the Bear Baba lovers, as they call themselves, uh, they live by one thing. Something. If you've ever hung out with them, if you ever get to know them, they live by a single tenet of Bear Baba. It's not the rest of what he wrote down. No, none of them go by that. They don't. I'm telling you, I'm going to read you what every Bear Baba lover that I've ever met goes by. Okay, there's one exception I know of. But everyone I've ever met goes by this one single quote, okay, that I'm going to read to you. And this is, you can look this up. This is a quote. If you just take my name at the moment of dropping your body, you will come to me. Yes, anyway, it's not easy to take my name at the very moment of leaving the body. Then you individually experience infinite bliss. Even spiritual ecstasy cannot be compared with divine bliss. Remember this, which is interesting that they live like this. They don't. They're like, because I talked to them, some of them are like, no, we go by this quote. This quote. They don't. They're not looking for perfect masters of the truth. None of them. They don't do that. None of them do that. Not zero. Zero of them do that. Zero. Zero. They only live by this quote, which is an interesting thing because my experience when I dropped the body, because I don't have any like experience of doing this. Well, I mean, yes, they have a lot of experience of doing it, but here's the interesting thing: when I was at Bear Hollis 2, and I, like stepped away from it and then dropped the body at that exact moment, words came out of my mouth that were absolutely an involuntary response, like an instinct, like a reaction. You know what I mean? The way you yell Jesus Christ if something horrible is going on, you're like Jesus Christ. You call for God, because you need help desperately. It's an automatic response. But right when I dropped the body and said, "There, Baba is God," those are the only words I spoke. You're supposed to be silent on this too. I wasn't like trying to speak or nothing like that. I wasn't knowing I was going to drop the body. It wasn't a conscious thing. I just went there, and that's what happened to me. So It is an automatic response that happens based on God saying it through your mouth. Not me. So, if they're living with that quote, and they all do, they're just, I guess, understanding God is going to come and say it through their mouth at the end, and that's all they're hanging their whole hat in their spiritual advancement and God realization on that one thing. You see, it's kind of spectacular to omit all his other teachings and only live by one quote. But that's what I found all their Bible lovers do. They live by this one quote, and they just honestly, most of them. You talk to a lot of Bible lovers. A lot of them don't read his books. They just don't. They haven't actually. They don't do it. Pretty amazing, right? Okay, I'm gonna keep going. No calls for questions. Okay, I'll keep going. So, uh, this we're talking about religion, right? So here's Mayor Bauer's quote on religion. This is from Lord Mayor, number 3, page 809. The real meaning of religion is to know God, to see God, and to be one with God. Everything else about religion is an exercise in rites and ritual. That's it. Like, we all have the same goal. Every See, what's happening is people don't understand this. What's happening is we're in the last stage, right? We're up here. So these ages happen, and we're in this cycle. Okay. Now, no one's ever going to hear about it, ever. No one's ever going to hear about it. Why? Because it's going to restart and it's going to be down here. See, and then these other avatars come through, whatever, right? These other avatars come through. Oh, everybody knows that, but whatever. That's how the past. They're gonna. This is the Kali Yuga. Will a completely new cycle start with not Jesus and what I mean? What does it matter, honestly? What does it matter? It don't really matter, do it? Because we're here. The only thing that matters is you got to do it now. If you're looking at other, you know, I mean, of course, God can change this tiny little. Like God created this cycle of this age and all the backstory and all the human apparently that's a piece of cake to put it in an image form on a little poster thing. The painting I stood next to the original in India. It's all in the me. Uh, it's like a scroll unwound, sort of. Anyway, but thick, maybe. Can you all hear me? Because I'm not seeing it. So anyway, yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. Cool. Okay. I'm putting the sledgehammer a little too much to the face. Anyway, okay. So these things happen here in these ages. At some point. At some point they happen. Do they re-happen? Does Jesus want to be Jesus again? What? Already did that role. What do you mean? You have to do the same stupid role now. You know what I mean? But this thing is infinitely long. So, because it's always recycling, recycling, and then the whole cycle recycles, recycle, re-age, recycle, recycle, we just cycle all over. You know, but each one of them is doing its own thing too. You have to think about it like this thing's like the way we experience time, sort of. Okay, think of it like this as an analogy in your mind. There's seconds, there are minutes, right? There are hours, there are days, there are weeks, there are months, there are years. You see what I'm saying? So time is broken up into these pieces, the way we think about it, right? And that's happening this way too. Time is fate to God. Outside the sphere, time is fate. You follow me? But right here, it's happening. We are not we, but what exactly? Love energy. Yeah, the opposite to it. The opposite of what you said. We're not we. We're not a group. Well, there is no group mind. In other words, the humans that are here, the 7,000, we don't have that group mind. We're not we, right? He's not speaking to the creatures that still got to do the cycles and stuff like that. No, he's saying to the ones that can listen to a perfect counselor, abide by the truth, and want to be on the spiritual path. There are only 7,000 of you. In his books, he's only speaking to them. He's not speaking to the rest of people. Like he's not speaking to a group. He's not speaking to we, right? They're all reading his books and stuff like that, but he's not speaking to them. You see, I mean, he is in an offhand way, right? He's saying everybody's got to do this, and this is the path you got to take. Listen to me, and you can, play the spiritual game, but no, he's saying the exact opposite of that. He's saying the exact opposite. You see the say, what your individual karma is what gets things done. I can't, I can't give you the truth, but I can't live your life. You see what I'm saying? I can tell everyone, hey, this is the truth. You have the information, and it can affect your actions. But if you say, no, that's not the truth, well, that affects your actions too. You heard the truth, you denied it. So what happens? You're reincarnated. You're going to hell in between. Blah blah blah. You can't learn anything while you're here. And so that's the group mindset. They cannot change. They will not change. This is not their age to change. This cycle maybe they won't do it in millions of lifetimes. That's not for them. There are only 7,000 that are going to reach the spiritual path. Not on the way to the end goal. Just reach the spiritual path at all in this lifetime. In the entire human population that is alive, that many, no more. You see, no more. So there's no we doing nothing. There's individuals acting, and God, has an automatic response to their actions. That's it. So it's the exact opposite of what you're saying. Okay? All right. All right. Would new ages and cycles be based on new sun stars that are being produced? Well, yeah, but God produces all said stars. God produces creation. God knows this whole thing, and you know what I mean. So yes, you're going to get to here, so I'm going to have to make this other cycle of age and this and that way. You know what I mean? Keep everything rolling. So I mean, yes, you know, uh, but God creates those sun stars and everything. You're not to blame. You see the saying, God is. Bend the knee and say, God, you're to blame for everything. You made a cycle and an age and cathedrals and cities and towns and harbors and oceans and this whole place up here and me too in this body. You're responsible for everything, obviously. You have predetermined and pre-thought this whole thing out and to this detail, you made all these creations and it's going exactly how you said. That's that's pretty that's pretty heavy on the 100% prediction and all that. I mean, there's something out of whack. There's something. Everything is exactly as God planned it. Exactly. Period. So the avatar would come based on the time. I think your mama said like 10 billion sun stars are produced every second or 8. It's ridiculous, right? Because you're always, what is happening here? You have a desire for something. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. I need to use the bathroom. Would it be great if this car that just broke down by the side of the road, I need a new car. You know what I mean? And just my shoes are worn out. I need some shoes. And, I'm hungry again. Da 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 da. So as far as means desires, this you should interchange samskaras for desires, because your Bible says samskaras means desires, so that's what it means. The devil's here to give you your desires. You see the saying, thoughts, desires, other than that. They pop out of the ether. Here's your things that you want, right? When you had desires, you had the devil's job for you. You don't want anything. What do you want? God. And that's what you're saying all day long. He's like, take by name all day long. You just say in God's name, hey, yeah, you're not sending forth new desires. And if you, right, you're on the mental side. Oh, thoughts are coming to me. Right, you're not creating them. Thoughts are coming to me. Or you're like, no, you're like, and then you're taking God's name, and the thoughts come less and less and less. And so, were these desires even ever yours? No, you didn't. They weren't actually. They were God said. You weren't sending them to you. So who's sending them to you? God is the blame. Is sending you all this thoughts, and you know, you're having these reactions that God built into you. So, who's to blame? God. And then you step back and go, oh wow, God's to blame for everything. Where do I fit? You see, like you're the one discerning, okay, I need to get back to God. Like this cycle's ending, I've been living at a time. God, they're going to say, yes, you have a longing for me, an endless, ceaseless longing for God. Once you find out the truth, because the truth is you're trapped in this terrarium, we're not, you know, the devil's running everything. Who wants to be here? And so that's why the truth sets you free. Once you realize, oh my God, I'm in this time loop where these desires are set to be keep me to be happening based on me wanting them, and I don't want them anymore. And that's it. And that's what all, get rid of your low desires and stuff. They're not yours. It's like a driver's license. That ain't yours, and it's not you. Quit holding on to these feelings and thoughts and this stuff's sent to you because it's sent to you. You're the one reacting to it. Oh, what am I going to do? You see, that's the discernment. That's as close as we're ever going to get to free will. And then you're going to go, oh, my actions are going to change based on me knowing the truth now. So that's a way, right? Once you know the truth, their Bible say you don't cut desires. That's not what a perfect pastor does. I don't cut your desires. I unravel them. They're like a ball of yarn, and I unravel them over time. You see, uh, because then you don't turn into a beiju on the path. You get to their Bible, see you're like, bingo, you're gone for good. See you next lifetime. You know the body too much God. You have to prepare this vessel for God, and it doesn't. They don't go together. We're here to feel separate from God, not joined. So they don't go together. That's when God comes in this vessel, it's supposed to crack, break, die, endo. That's it. You see, crack the vessel, God. They don't go together. How can infinity go with finite? They don't go together. That's why no one understands what I'm saying practically. They don't go together. What I'm saying doesn't go together with anything we're told. It does nothing. Not one thing, but everything I say is true. It is logically, and it you go see yourself. Okay, whoops. So that's what matters. Right. You went to Joy, yeah. Now wait, exactly. You see what I'm saying now. It's a clever ruse they have that, oh, churches are filled with people. We're going to do, we ain't doing nothing. We are never doing anything. No one's doing anything together. No, no. Your individual soul is individually timed, and you have to, get to God. And the timing is every day, tick tock, shorter. So you have to have that sense and treat it as such and ask for God's help because otherwise, we're not going to make it. I can help, but I can't act for you. Okay. Yeah. No, you don't create the impressions, but you can recreate them. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'll use an example. Okay. This isn't about you or anyone in particular. It has something to do with you. It's the answer to a general question. Okay. So, you eat a meal. Okay. You're like, oh, well, best meal, whatever. You ate it. Okay. But what happens at some point, you're hungry again, right? You drink water. Oh, perfect. The best water, ice cold, blah, blah, blah. But at some point, you're hungry again. I mean, thirsty again. everything in this world, you do something and it wears off. You know, every bliss additive, drug or action or whatever brings happiness or bliss always ends. It always goes away, right? Here, always goes away. That's the opposite of the state of God. Your physical vessel cannot hold the bliss of God. It can't hold it. It's not. It's no way. You know. You experience it, and this vessel cracks almost every single time. I'm the rare chosen one to not crack. Okay, first. So okay, great. It's not a great feeling to be like okay, I know everything about God isn't that great, but I'm here. That's the opposite of great. So but that's what we have to focus on. We have to get this vessel prepared, the truth on why is this stuff star. In other words, oh, what my favorite meal is? No, not really. I don't really like. There's certain foods I prefer, or whatever, but I don't have a favorite meal. You know what my favorite blind? I don't have any. You know, like those things go away. Like you're just trying to get to God and focus on that every day. You have some things to do in between. You got to keep the health together, the body together, happiness, take breaks. Live a healthy life and stuff like that. You got to have the financial hacks that they teach and all that junk. Uh, but you don't like the desires go away. Like okay, man, oceans are cool. I want to sail around the world. And then the end of time is coming in less than 10 years. Like, oh my God. And then you find everything else I say that's really like, oh my God. Last thing that you were thinking of now is like, oh, I want to get a boat ready to sail around the world. You're like, wait, 10 years? Wait a second. What else do you know? You know, like, like I talked to a very nice guy that showed up here and he's interested in my work and so on, and he's in West Virginia right now, he's like he's honestly said to me after he got hold of my stuff and everything. He's like, man, I don't really. He's like, my life plans sort of changed. I need to sort of just think about this, like that whole but wasn't ever our plan. Like, how did that plan come about? Aren't those thoughts sent to us? So that plan for our individual, whatever we saw as a life, because life is ending at this point for everyone. So we're like, so, what are you going to do now based on that, based on God? And like, oh, so that's how I unwrinkle all that, right? You each on one string, like a string, and it's like a, ball of yarn. So I'm like, no, everything goes together, and it goes in a circle. And that's where the yarn is in the circle. That's it. Instead of a big dot, like I can't. What the? Nope. Don't worry. This is cycle time, and you're right here, right? You like everyone's like, what's the purpose of life and stuff like that? I'm like, here's the map of the world and the time and everything, and put a dot. You are here, like the ball. Anybody else doing that? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. What does that make me? Your mama, I read a quote recently. Said it's. I can laugh at myself definitely because when I was a child, yeah, I was in high school and this is so funny. Oh man. Okay. So when I'm in grade school, right? I would I would uh I would write in the oh what is it call it? Like in the book that like there's the pages where they come together like the edge of the book. There you could write something on the pages and stuff. I would write Jack is great. That's what I would do. And it was an unconscious thing, honestly. It was whatever. I really really didn't give it a whole lot of thought or anything. It's kind of silly. I mean, there's a guy I went through, really nice guy. I went through grade school and high school with, both college schools, right? And I have my jacket off in class, and he knows me, right? So we're really, you know, have close friends or something. And he writes on my jacket, inside there's a tag, right? A big tag on it. And he writes it upside down because of like the jacket's back, but the tag is like upside down and it's on his desk, right? So he writes in there, Jack is great. I, yeah, I laughed so hard. I was like, you pegged me. I quit doing that after that because he had pegged me so good. I was like, oh my god, what is wrong with me? Like it was so funny for him to make a joke on me about it, you know. But anyway, Mayor Wallace said, you know, if you are the greatest one, you have to say it. It's not being humble to say it. People need to know the truth, so you have to say, like, I'm the one that won the game first. I have the information for you. It's not being humble. When you say you're a priest, you, oh, I know all about a God and stuff like that. That's being a hypocrite. You know nothing. You see, like all the preachers I have been to in the street, like you need to be baptized. I'm like, well, how do you baptize? And like they pull water out of your head and dunk people in water, like, and they're like, yeah, that's what John the Baptist did to Jesus. That's baptized. And I'm like, what? Oh, so you're a John the Baptist, right? In other words, you don't follow Jesus, right? You follow John the Baptist. Oh, cool. And they're like, what? I'm like, Jesus said and did, right? Said and did. Kneel in front of others, wash their feet, and then, right, you dry their feet. And you say at the time, you know, are you asking for forgiveness of your sins in the name of Jesus Christ? Is that what you're asking from God? Is forgiveness of your sins what? Not to repeat them. Not to repeat them. Not to repeat them. Is that what you're asking for? Right? That's you want to be baptized in the name of Jesus Christ. Yes. Okay. Do you wish your sins to be forgiven and you're not going to repeat it? Yes? Okay. Then I will deal, right? Because a priest doesn't deliver anyone, doesn't do anything, right? God decides who is, you know, going to get baptized, who's going to see God or not. God decides. Priests don't decide anything, and neither do I, right? So, and neither do you. So when it's baptizing, you feel, you humble yourself, you do as Jesus said and did, said and did. And you do that, and you ask, you beg God. You're on your knees, because you're nobody, like I'm nobody. And yeah, you beg God, please forgive their sins. And please let them, you know, what? Remove the demon in them. Let them just have you in them. That's what they're asking for. Okay, so that's baptism. And none of them do it. Zero. Because I'm like, what, you're John the Baptist? So everything up to Jesus, you're cool with doing all that stuff too. You don't do what Jesus said to do, right? You don't do that. You don't do just what he said. You do all this other junk in the what's in the Bible. Who cares? What's the whole point is all this other crap's in the Bible, and there's this one guy you're supposed to listen to. You don't listen to the rest of the stuff. How is that the least bit complicated? I have no idea. How can that be complicated? Nobody gets that. Zero. I don't understand. And so there's no pathway. Do you understand from what I just said? There is no pathway to be actually delivered. You follow me? There are no priests doing that. And Jesus said to do it. So there is no true actual Christian religion actually happening. None of them. Who's doing that? I've done that. I've even gone to the Christians and said, this is how you do it. Do you want it? They don't want it. You know, like, how do I get to anyone? honestly is so impractical. Like it's just not possible. You like the only people halfway listening or listening or whatever. Anyway, let's keep going on through this because I'm going to bring the rest of the religions in this. Okay, let's see about. Well, let's read this little. Their Bob also said about the American Christian mission and the Salvation Army, both of which tried to convert Hindus and Muslims to Christianity. Why all this? Why mislead people into leaving their religion? Is religion the truth as well as the way to the truth? Truth has nothing to do with religion. Truth is far away and far beyond the tenets and principles of religion. Truth is naked and unrestrained and can only be experienced by cutting loose by its lips, lust, anger, and greed. Ah, cool, Joe. All right. I'm going to get your grades straight, right? That's just them parade around here like they do in the ether. Because they're coming out of the ether, and that's just they do look like that on a 3% just tell you they're not either. Okay, so let's get into the Muslims, right? This is what they say back to the apocalypse, all right? They say, I'm looking at ZWEMER Center for Muslim Studies. And then there's an eight, so there's a symbol of eight above it, so they know what's up, okay? So, what? There's six parts here, okay? They say to the apocalypse, right? And they all actually go along with what I say, so we start bringing them up. There's an ancient prophecy that quotes Muhammad as saying, there's this place in Syria, Islam defeats Christendom, and so on. So, blah, blah. Okay, but this is what it says about the end. The geography matters. There's going to be obviously some role in the Middle East, and they're going to have a big show, and that's where the big thing's going to happen. Okay, number one. Number two, there will be signs and wonders, right? There's going to be a whole lot of stuff happening, like Lahaina, where and with Paradise, right, in California, where houses will be just etched out in ash, and the grass and shrubs and trees around will be perfectly green. It's like your ash, right? Your house is ash, you are ash, your family's ash, your belongings ash. The grass and trees and butterflies and all that. Yeah. Number three, there will be moral decay. I think I don't see, at this point, there are more OnlyFans women than there are teachers. So I think that's the metric right there when you find we have moral decay, right? And which one is better than the other because the teachers don't know anything, right? They're not teaching any truth. So it's like we're battle of the idiots. It's like, it's a horror, right? Like divorce is rampant, families, everything's cut apart. There's no voting, government state, we're all slaves of the bankers. It's like, and if you sell your soul to the devil, you can have more money than you can possibly spend. Yay! That's really the only thing that's going on here. So, number four, it will be terrifying. Right? Everything's going to end and restart. God's going to make you remember, right? Like all the video in Lahaina. Yeah, well, you know, what does God do? Kills the wicked. So there's going to be a whole lot of that kind of stuff going on. Oh my God! And they're going to say what? They're going to have a thing about it, right? Climate change. The climate is changing. What in like 6 minutes? The whole place is like. The whole point about celebrating the halfway point on 9/11 and those two buildings coming down is people can't do that. People can't do that. Period. People can't do that. No way people can. They can. They like the steel. The steel is so thick. Have you built anything? The steel have anything that does that. you know, so that kind of like, little tiny little two building calamity was a big deal. Think about the rest of the place. You know, I think it's really interesting that God chooses to point out like on Lahaina and Paradise and stuff. But no, I'm just etching out like them. Right? I'm killing those wicked people. You know, it's exact, like surgical. That grass blade is fine, and you are not. Whoops. It's not. I mean, I'm not saying there's not going to be seemingly more random calamities and stuff like that. I agree with you. And it's not a disagreement, but I think there's just going to be always this element of, God's trying to show that God is real, even up until the last. Like this whole, when things are going to get worse and more calamities and stuff like that is, it can't, how many times are going to come from the climate change thing, Like, what are you talking about? See, they know it's coming. It's like, no, we got a marketing plan for that. Climate change. Yeah, see, it's just random stuff kind of happening and stuff as, random stuff happens. It's funny if at least one house in Lahaina had a bulletproof truss, right? And see, that's where this technology is going to play out eventually. You see what I'm saying? Especially, you see, because that's what the super smart people who don't have the truth are looking for. Just what you just said. Oh, well, but you could see that some houses were completely fine and some right around them and everything completely ash. Not like, oh, they had a little ash, just fine. I think that's the main point to see, like, how could, because you're looking at images, it's like, what? How? Wait a second. You know, it doesn't make that sense. None of it. Especially the details, we had a big fire in Taos when I lived there. It was like a 10,000 acre fire it was, I was on the mesa, a casino on the mountain, you know, and it was right a little north, but it was on the main mountain, and it was 10,000 acres, but it was a wicked wind. And the lava foundation was up there, and I have friends up there who lived up there, right up in there. And I drove up there right after too. And the lava foundation was still there, and these folks' homes, and they were very they were actually a very God fearing, God loving family. They were. It's very unusual that they were in that area that they were. And I mean, the entire forest around these places was, and it was big forest, just referred to as forest. You know what I mean? And I saw it. It was indescribable. The mountain, just didn't go up and over the mountain and do it because it blew. It was blowing so hard it blew it up. It didn't come down the other side, and then the wind shifted, and that was that. It come the other way, and it already burned out. So. But it's going on all the time, is what I'm saying. But it's just going to get more. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, you're right. So let's keep going through this. Number four will be terrifying. This is Islam, right? Number five, hellfire and brimstone, right? It's funny, Venice, like here on the east coast of Florida, Venice, where they trade the 9/11 pilots, uh, it's called Venice because it has these canals, beautiful canals, around and stuff. And they're lined with brimstone, these pockmarked rocks we have them in Florida. Uh, it's not a limestone, it's brimstone, with liquid and solid, it has bubbles in it and stuff like this, brimstone. And then canals are perfectly lined with brimstone. It's like, I mean, all of them, right up to the edge, perfectly lined. Perfect. do that. It's like you lined the whole canal, the beds and everything with this brimstone. Crazy. And number six in this, and the last one, Jesus has a key role according to the Quran, right? According to Muhammad. So let's see, Jesus, my brother's coming. God is coming. There's a certain time when he's coming, and that's true. Every knee must bow and every tongue confess. There is a name given that, is higher than the others. Okay? But Jesus is praying to God. Jesus is working for God. I work for God. It's not like he's not saying, you know, I am the one that has always been. And Jesus just emerged and has Christ consciousness and has all of it. And he was given all the power and everything. You see, even the Muslims now. The Hindus call this, and their Baba call this the Kali Yuga. And I read this on Wikipedia. Kali Yuga, common the last of the four ages, is the one in which we currently reside. This epoch has been foretold and characterized by impiety, violence, and decay. Uh, and this is what it says. Such this is the prophecy of the time of the Kali Yuga and what we're living in. This is a quote from that prophecy. Social status depends not upon your accomplishments, but in the ownership of property. Wealth is now the source of virtue, passion, and luxury of the soul bonds between spouses. Falsity and lying are the conditions of success in life. Sexuality is the sole source of human enjoyment. Religion is superficial, and every ritual is the spirituality. I mean, the Hindus know exactly what's up. And they just have they got billions of years and stuff like that for each age and cycle and stuff like that. But and what that's saying is each age is going on like this for a long time. You see what I'm saying? Millions of times, so many times, and then it switches to the next stage. That's called pralaya in like Hindu thought. That's an end to that age. And then Mahapralaya, or their model, so sorry. Mahapralaya is like a cycle, but Mahapralaya happens regularly too. In God's terms, anyway, regular, like millions, billions, whatever. So there's just a different, like our time in here doesn't match the time of God, you know? There are different times at play here. The point is that they're talking about a cycle and age, and every religion talks about that. Sikhism, right? It is developed from the spiritual teachings of Guru and Nanak, and so there are these different gurus, and what's happening is for them they're saying an incarnation of God is going to be here. It is going to be sent here. It has been sent here. So you know it has the same uh, concept of reincarnation and karma and so on. So they have a similar concept of time and reality and so on. The Buddhists, right? What did Buddhists say? Buddhists said, according to Buddha, the world ends because seven suns surround Earth and burn to a crisp. The trees and other plant life burn away, covering the Earth in a layer of ash. Oceans dry up, life dies off, and the Earth is destroyed. The world will end at the age of 6 billion years. The end of the world and the end of life on this world will not be at the same time. The end of life and the end of the world will not be at the same time. You understand? In other words, he's saying there's a cycle and an age. People don't know what that he's saying that. They're saying, oh, all life's going to end and then the planet's going to go way later. You're misunderstanding such an easy concept. Well, anyway, people misunderstand. So, oh, sorry. Anyway, it says anyway. Buddha also said that before him there were three previous Buddhas. Life on life in the world, life in the world ended between each because of water, wind, and fire. And he said there will be one last Buddha before the world itself is destroyed, i.e., the Kali. So, in other words, I uh, so where I'm reading from it. So where does Buddha say we will all go when the world ends? There will be no physical place left to live. All life will then exist in Frobelach. An entirely new world will then form. Life will return back to it. And a cycle of creation will restart again. You pop into the ether, and then you pop back into the physical. That's what Buddha says. Okay. Uh, that was the religious stuff. I'm bringing it to this. See, all religions basically say the same thing. We're in a repeating cycle. Because I'm the first one to decode it from Christianity. Now, what does it say in the Bible? Let me read the Bible. Sorry, I forgot that. Didn't I? I'll read it. Here it says, Matthew 24:22. Except that the Lord had shortened the days. Right? The Bible helps. Let's see. Okay. And except those days should be shortened. There should be no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. God shortened the days. It's right in the book. He shortened the days. What do you mean shorten the days? Yet, time is a cycle. It's a repeating loop. That's what it says right in the book. Right? I'm like the Christians on my phone. Look at your field manual. It's right in there. That's what I call the Bible. That's your field manual. Come on, you're in the field. Look at that thing. Shorten the days. Go look. Idra's dough, the rain dough, right? The devil's dough, red arch sideways is Buddha's world, right? That's right. Search for enlightenment happens under only this dome right here with the rainbow. That is correct. Say Baba. Idra. There's another word for it. Yeah. Maya. Idra. Alan, why did the mastery of servitude caliphon change? Did Bear Baba approve the later versions with added hexing? Yo, all that's from the time before time. You see? Uh, like, he changed like, all the books and stuff pop out of the ether. And they're, what they are. The changes that happen in the publishing of his books and stuff like that, he found minor elements that can help people the most. And that's why the books have changed a little bit over time, but they're not changed radically. There's still super much truth in there. It's just some that's not in there, not much so. And then, like, creation is causes it totally actually twisting and everything. So that was just I had a real problem reading that because but the source information is you can't even get the source information. They hide know, Sri Bear Baba, Rado, Raju Abdullah's, Sri Bear Baba, the Perfect Master, and his teachings. I think is what it's supposed to be, a long title like that. From the 1930s, it was like you could find pieces of it and stuff like that. Part of it is in the Advancing Stream of Life. There's one chapter in there, the smaller book. Let me actually pull that. In the Advancing Stream of Life, these have different chapters, and one of them is from that. And when once I read it, I was like, oh my God, there's like this is the actual truth of what's going on here. The physical reality is sort of like, but I'm gonna tell you how, because I've been studying this for a while. You know what I mean? I also have, my father and I are one. So this you have. I've said this to you before. I'm gonna say it again to the new people who hear this. To you too. Uh, but I'm like you. I'm hyper intellectual and stuff. I'm like you a lot. Like I gotta. I'm trying to rationally think it through. But here's the thing: like everything's a miracle in the end. You see what I'm saying? Everything's miraculous. It's like in other words, every logical, intellectual understanding of every aspect of our situation dies at some point, and you go, "Oh, God is, how does the air get clean?" Well, you can't really explain it because it's, I guess, a miracle. We're in a dome and the air gets clean. It's like the trees aren't clean. Like, how does the tide come in and out? It's absolutely a miracle. There are some forces which are just, but then you're like, wait a second, how did I get here? I got here before time, and I didn't come through a woman. And like, you know, the whole thing. It's like miracle based. There's a talk of Yamama meeting with his, the mouse, his master there is both with Prakash and Maharaj, and they're both sitting there, and one of them says like, how many universes are there up there? Up there. They're like they start, trying to add them up and count, and they realize that doing that, they start to lose their consciousness of this world, and they would leave the body. So they're like, no, you can't do this, and they stop. They consciously stop thinking of that to be able to stay in the body and get traction in it. So at some point, yes, it's good to look at these things in these details. It's very important to see what you're into and up against. But at some point, you go, okay, this is out of my ability to understand. It is the ocean above us. God is unfathomable at some point. I'm not saying don't stop trying to fathom what you can. I'm saying do that. But at the same time, you have to. Everyone, no matter how smart they are, it doesn't matter. You have to get to the conclusion that this whole thing is one giant miracle and God's running everything. Because the more you look at the details, the more nothing makes sense. And you're like, okay, well, that's God again, God again, God again, God again. Whole thing, you see? So then you're like, well, I can't be worried while I'm sleeping that the air is going to be clean tonight by whatever's cleaning it or the ocean's going to get clean again. How is you worried about that going to do anything? It's not. It's going to happen. And then one day it's not. And that's not up to you or me. That's just the way it is. You see? You have to accept that. It's impossible to accept that of us. You have to. Or else you're just going to do what you can. I will have to, you find out the truth. You're like, anything but that, right? That's your one desire remaining. Where's God? Hey, whatever I got to do, one remaining desire. And that's what every intellectual search carries forward into that. You see, so I wanted to do that because that's the goal of a perfect master is not to lose people of the fourth plane as they're, you get to know more experience, more know more experience, more know more experience. I got to see God. And they hit the fourth plane, and you're like, oh, you know everything that you don't because you didn't experience God yet, but you know everything about the ether. So they're like, Now you can do miracles. Come on back to it. It's just like, no, I don't need to know that badly about stuff. I know God is real. I'm done looking at the someplace. I'm looking at God. He's sending me thoughts. Send me your just thoughts of God. No, you see, don't lose the body. Don't lose the body. Don't kill yourself, or you know what I mean. Like I can take it up in the show. You know, just go past. That's it. Okay. Anyway, we're going to wind this thing up because I'm an hour in here, and I kind of hit everything that I wanted to hit. And yeah, Joey, God is everything. Everything else is fake. You see the saying like, oh, but you know, the air's going to clean. Yeah, but God did that. And made the air. And it's like, yeah, but the ocean, yeah, but God made the ocean. How's it getting clean? God's doing everything. You see, and everything's popping out of the ether. If you're not in factories, just a little bit of that. It's like, well, God's doing that, and God's doing everything. God's doing everything. So you're like, okay, easy, God. Listen, since you're doing everything and all that, here's my one thing that I want. Get me out of here. Ah, and that's it. You see, that's why I said don't want every bit of knowledge because if you got it all, you'd leave the body. Like I'm trying to give you enough and more. Keep asking questions. Don't ask like questions. But you're seeking intellectual knowledge that in the end is impossible to describe a miracle. It's like who's God? It's like well these hard description. You see, but you can see God exists everywhere because nothing makes sense without the explanation that God is doing it. And that's the way God set it up. So you, at the end, you go, well, God's doing everything. And if you think that's not happening, how do you explain this or that or this or that? Yeah, nothing makes sense otherwise. Okay? Thank you, Joe. Yeah, you brought that around. Gee, Buddha, their Baba said Buddha was perfectly spiritual. Will he be? I mean, those consciousness is never lost. There is no other game in town. This is the only game. Earth is the only place. This is the only spiritual battle. You think the other ones that won the spiritual battle, you think they exist for anything else other than, hey, you got to come this way too, and then you'll be over where they are. Like if you look on, their Baba makes like illustration of where different individuals are that have different consciousness, and so like where Buddha is and Jesus is so on that they're segregated away from the consciousness of like regular people. They're segregated in the consciousness I have. You see, so they're not in this consciousness or in this body or nothing like that. But yeah, consciousness is never lost. You, Oh, I wanted to point this out. This is a perfect question to ask you. Let's do it. Here's the answer. Look at this image online. And all these people look at it, right? These are the people that want the game before. And they're looking in through the firmament. They're looking in. All these people in each age are looking in. That's good. Looking in. You get it? Yeah. Well, I mean, the full quote. Don't worry. Be happy. Do your best. And I will do the rest. Your best. Who's doing their best? That's the tricky part. You follow me? You have to do your best to end the worries and be happy. You have to do your best and give the rest to God. If you don't do that, you'll be worried and you'll be unhappy. You got to do the whole quote. Okay. All right. I'll see you next week. I can't exist without the donations. This school, this church, this knowledge doesn't proceed forward into the consciousness of other people without your donations, and people have been donating. So I want to thank you for donating. Okay, and keeping this going. Um, that counts towards, in the debit column. Like, oh, I support the truth. Well, that counts. Come Judgment Day, what do you think? God's like, I'll send one message for. I don't even listen to them, but those people that do, that support it, you think that's all being tallied up? Notice what I'm saying. They're looking on the inside. Oh, they're watching. got another week, right? You can do this. All right, move forward. All right. God bless you all. See you next week.